All right, so many stories to cover today, but one, the Democrats just demonized the newest ultra MAGA. And they've declared his flock public enemy number one through a term that's called Christofascism, an old term, now made new again. But it entails an entirely different attack. With Roe v. Wade decision looming near, you see the Democrats, the progressive Democrats, the socialist Democrats, call them what you will, have found their newest method of attack. If you believe in this, they're going to tear you down. And I'll show you the evidence of that here shortly. I just want to say that we have been blessed here as the audience has grown exponentially. The view count has skyrocketed, and that's thanks to each of you who helped me to share these videos. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Take a second. Make sure you click on it. Make sure your bell is checked so you're alerted to upcoming broadcasts. I look at the statistics behind things, and I know a lot of you don't have that bell check, so triple check and make sure you do. If you want to be alerted to my upcoming broadcasts, you can also subscribe at justusknight.com. You'll get a notification. And if you're not subscribed yet to restrictedrepublic.com, that's your means of supporting me. If you enjoy this material, please get there today. And don't forget that new blockbuster offer, RR News Now. That's going to get you $1 a month for 3 months. That's right, $1 a month for 3 months, 14 days for free, simply to check out the platform. But once you're there, I promise you'll go nowhere else for your news and matters. But now let's get back to this broadcast. So what caught my attention over the weekend was this article. Progressives have a new term to smear everyone they don't like. We've heard many of these before. Aren't you excited? They start the article. The far left has been hard at work trying to come up with new ways to demonize conservatives and anyone else who disagrees with their politics. Perhaps terms like racist, homophobic, and sexist have become too, old for the progressives, so they're going to reach to something even older. Again, to demonize their attack on conservative values. Now let's move forward. And I'll show you what they're doing and how they're doing this. We'll jump into the illustrious world of Twitter. Christofascist has opinion on Sharia law. That term, I don't know if you've seen it before. I know maybe some of you have. Christofascism. There's been many other words for this. I'll show you as we move forward. Now let's keep in mind though, Rich Camel, let me get myself out of the way. He's got a whole 3,249 following him, and he's a Green Bay Packers fan. That's the first issue. Sorry, Green Bay Packers fans. I'm a Bears fan, so automatically you and I will not get along. Just ask my son, who is also a Green Bay Packers fan. Ex-Republican, of course. Clayton Cubitt, the manufacturer of the assault rifle used in the school massacre, unsurprisingly gives off Christofascist groomer vibes, and the term permeates further. This same author of that tweet also stated that proof of Jesus Christ in the Holy Bible is the same of proof of Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit, just to put everything in perspective. So you start to understand what this attack is all about. There's absolutely nothing Judeo about guns. This is just another Christofascist trying to salvage your own greed and inhumanity. Follow this man's Twitter and you'll get a very good perspective of what he actually represents, but I could do it a lot quicker simply by going down to the bottom where it says followed by Alyssa Milano and HuffPost. So that should tell you all you need to know. But let's go into this. Christian fascism was the old word for this, and you could see back in 2004 a spike in that terminology. What is old is new again. Not too much with Christian fascism showing up recently. They just retermed it. What happened in 2004? The Christian Right and the Rise of the American Fascism by Christopher Hedges in November of 2004, and hence you saw the rise in that term. In this, what he authored here, he saw in the Christian right, long before we did, disturbing similarities with the German Christian Church and the Nazi Party. In the event of prolonged social instability or a national crisis, see American fascists, under the guise of religion, rise to dismantle the open society. He despaired of liberals who, he said, as in Nazi Germany. Now you're starting to get the parallels. Chris Hedges went on to the Real News Network, also other mainstream media sources in the Chris Hedges report. But now let's come forward here. Back in 2004, you also see Christofascism, the spike there, way over on the left here. But now moving forward, we saw another brief spike. This is approximately 2017, all the way moving forward to the newest graph where we see a spike again, back up to that number of 100 that they showed before, May 1st through May 7th. Wonder where that came from. Well, we're surrounded by all the power signs and lying wonders before us, and keep that in mind, because it is a warping of reality as the destruction of Christianity. We've seen this trend line continually move down. This is just one representation of that, the amount of Google searches for Christianity going down as they try to dismiss God at all times, coming on the heels of what will be this decision coming out shortly from the SCOTUS on Roe v. Wade. This is what kicked this back in again, because they are concerned and on edge about those Christian values that they are now terming Christofascism. That's why you've seen this represented so many times. The handmaidens fear the Christian values, the suppression of women, the old values that they no longer want around anymore. But I don't know many Christians that want to suppress women. But nonetheless, the imagery holds powerful and true. So we'll move forward into bullets, the Bible, and the flag, because that's where we're at again, and how they are taking this time around that term and the demonization of Christ to a whole different level. This article on Salon: Jesus, Endless War, and the Irresistible Rise of American Fascism. As Democrats fight and lose a rearguard culture war on abortion, the Christian fascists march towards victory. This is a red alert warning for many of you out there. This is how they're moving this forward now. In the article, it states the Christian fascists have coalesced in cult-like fashion around Donald Trump. They are bankrolled by the most retrograde forces of capitalism. The capitalists permit the stupidities of the Christian fascist and their self-destructive social and cultural wars. In exchange, the billionaire class gets corporate monopolies, union busting, privatized state and municipal services, including public education, revoked government regulation, especially environmental regulation, and are free to engage in virtual tax boycott. Now, not all those things, in my opinion, bad. I love the reduction of government regulation. I would love the reinforcing of public education. So you see the argument, though. Anything that goes against the left's agenda, they will bundle into this Christofascism title, make it bad, demonize God, so that they could attempt to moralize their positions. This is what's happening here. I'll go into further evidence. The war industry loves Christian fascists who turn every conflict from Iraq to Ukraine into a holy crusade to crush the latest iteration of Satan. The Christian fascists believe military power and the manly virtues that come with it are blessed by God, Jesus, and the Virgin Mary. No military budget is too big. No war waged by America is evil. Sounds like they're drawing the same parallels as some did with radical Islam. That would be kept in the same definition if you notice the twisting of words there a little bit. The wordsmithing itself. Let's go forward in the article. The Democrats' hypocrisy and stupidity are the fertilizer for Christian fascism, which is bankrolled by the most retrograde forces of capitalism in exchange for the destruction of the welfare state. Wow, that's a bundle of information there. So let me paraphrase. Due to the failure and out failures of the administration and the Democrats, rather than take blame for our inability to lead or dictate any good policy to keep America peaceful and growing, to provide for food and baby formula, to keep us out of endless wars, we're going to turn the mirror so that you look at yourself in it rather than us. And we're going to call it Christofascism and vilify God himself so that you are all to blame, and we can easily classify and bundle you and then, well, destroy the forces that you believe are good but are not good because we've told you they're not good, not based on our own failures, of course, because that's what they're doing here. Don't pretend it's anything less. The article goes on, these Christian fascists make up perhaps 30% of the electorate, roughly equivalent to the percentage of Americans who believe abortion is murder. They are organized, committed to a vision, however perverse and awash in money. I guess if you believe that abortion is murder, that vision is perverse and awash in money. John Roberts, Samuel Alito, Amy Coney Barrett, Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, mediocre jurists and Federalist Society ideologues who carry the banner of Christian fascism, control the Supreme Court that must be torn down. Because we don't agree with those values. And if we don't agree with those values, we'll vilify them, we'll demonize them. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. Now back to red state. Whew, both sides of the aisle here can get a little tricky. Little in the middle of the battleground. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that this is nothing more than mindless alarmism intended to manipulate people into believing those who disagree with progressive politics is equivalent to a Christian version of the Taliban. This isn't the first time leftists have used this particular trope. The term Christofascists has been existent since 1970. But it appears now they intend to push this thing as far as they can go. So you can expect to have this particular epithet thrown at you whenever you express pro-life or other forbidden viewpoints, such as anything they disagree with. Indeed, I expect it to become a regular part of the progressives' rotation when it comes to labels for their political opposition once the Supreme Court hands down its decision about Roe. And isn't that the truth? Rather than accept their losses, rather than to admit to their mistakes, rather than work to fix their egregious errors, we would rather vilify another party, another race, another group. Doesn't seem to really matter, does it? Look at them. Don't look at me. Christofascism is just the latest in this series of useless, insane efforts. Want to make sure you were aware before somebody brands you with that title and you're unaware it's coming. Well, now you are, and you know the background to defend yourself. I love you all. Can't thank you enough for being here. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.